Welcome to the channel as we start another story from the Creepy Tales playlist. In the darkness, stories take shape. Some are whispered from the shadows, others echoed from places you should never go. These are the echoes of the unknown, tales of horror, suspense, and fear that lingers. Because sometimes the scariest stories are the ones you can't explain. The ones you don't want to know exist. Let's begin. Endless twisting curves. Alex and Emma had chosen this late night drive for its quiet, hoping for a peaceful escape from the city's chaos. The world outside the car was a shadowed sea of towering pines, their needles whispering against the wind. The headlights carved a narrow path through the darkness, their beams swallowed by the thick night. Emma leaned against the window, her gaze lost in the endless trees, while Alex hummed along to a soft, static-filled radio. But the further they drove, the quieter everything became. Even the engine's hum seemed muffled, and a creeping unease settled over them. Emma's hand tightened on the seatbelt without realizing it. Alex tried to make a joke, but it fell flat. Silence stretched between them, thick and oppressive. Somewhere beyond, they hadn't seen another car for nearly an hour when they passed the old, rusted sign on the roadside. Whispering Pines, 10 miles. Alex chuckled. That's a creepy name for a forest. Emma didn't laugh. Something about the sign's faded letters, half consumed by creeping moss, felt wrong. But they kept driving. 10 minutes later, they saw it again. Whispering Pines, 10 miles. Alex's smile faded, his brow furrowing. Maybe we just turned around somewhere, he muttered, forcing a laugh. Emma's hand found his, squeezing it. We didn't turn around, she whispered. Fear rising in her voice. Another 15 minutes passed, the road winding deeper into the trees. They passed the sign a third time. Panic edged into Alex's voice now. This can't be right. We should have seen an intersection, something. Emma's phone had no signal, no GPS, only the blank, empty map mocking them. The road stretched on, endless and oppressive. To drown the growing dread, Alex turned the radio's dial, searching for a station. Static crackled and hissed, a white noise that only heightened the silence, pressing against them. He twisted the knob back and forth, but nothing came through. Just static. Then, buried within the static, something whispered, faint, distorted words, too quiet to understand, but unmistakably human. Emma leaned forward, her eyes wide. Did you hear that? She whispered, her voice shaking. Alex's hand trembled on the dial. It's just interference, he insisted, but his own voice was weak. The whispers grew louder, warping through the static, then fell silent. Emma tried her phone again, but the battery was draining faster than normal. It slipped from her fingers, falling to the floor as a chill settled in the car. Outside, the trees seemed to press closer, their dark branches clawing at the sky. And in the darkness, beyond the headlights, something watched. Alex's foot pressed harder on the gas, the car picking up speed. He told himself they just needed to drive faster, break through whatever trick this was, but the road twisted on, endless, the darkness stretching forever. Emma leaned forward, staring out the window, her breathing quick and shallow. Another curve, another stretch of shadowed trees, and the sign appeared again, Whispering Pines, 10 miles. Her scream was a sharp, desperate sound that shattered the silence. Alex cursed, jerking the wheel, trying to turn around, but as the car spun, the headlights swept over the forest, revealing nothing but darkness, a wall of black trees. The road coiled around them like a snake. Emma's phone blinked out. The battery dead, though it had been half full minutes before. "We're trapped," she whispered, her voice a choked sob. The static on the radio surged. Whispers grew louder, their names bleeding through the static. The headlights cut through the mist that began to gather, twisting like pale fingers around the trees. Emma's shaking hand gripped Alex's arm. "Look," she screamed. A figure stood in the road ahead, a tall, impossibly thin silhouette, featureless except for two glowing hollow eyes. Alex's heart leapt into his throat as he slammed the brakes, the car skidding. The figure stood motionless, watching them, the whispers growing louder, a distorted chorus. Then, just as the car stopped, it vanished, disappearing into the mist as though it had never been there. Silence settled, but the whispers didn't stop. Emma sobbed, pressing herself against the door, her fingers trembling. "We can't stay here," she choked out. Alex, pale and sweating, floored the gas, the tires squealing. The car surged forward, but the mist only thickened. The trees seemed to close in, and the road twisted like a serpent. "We have to get out," Emma whispered, her voice cracking. Alex's hands trembled on the steering wheel as they sped through the twisting, mist-choked road. The whispers surged around them, rising and falling like a distant chant. Emma stared out the window, her eyes wild. "We've got to get out! Stop the car!" she screamed. Alex hesitated, but the panic in her voice broke him. He slammed on the brakes, the car skidding to a stop in the middle of the road. They bolted out, Emma's flashlight flickering in the mist. The trees seemed to shiver, the dark branches swaying, though there was no wind. They ran, the road vanishing behind them, the whispers following. Emma looked back once and screamed. There were shadowy figures moving among the trees, empty eyes glowing in the darkness. Alex grabbed her hand, pulling her deeper into the mist, but the ground shifted beneath their feet, the forest twisting around them. The road reappeared, but it was different. No car, no escape. Breathless, Emma's flashlight flickered, its weak beam barely piercing the mist. But then she saw it, a faint glow ahead, a light in the darkness. "There!" she gasped, pulling Alex toward it. As they drew closer, they saw the cabin, an old, crumbling structure half consumed by creeping vines, its single dim window glowing with a sickly yellow light. Alex hesitated. Maybe we shouldn't, but Emma was already pounding on the door, desperate. "Please, please help us." Her voice was swallowed by the mist. The whispers grew louder, pressing against them, 1,000 murmurs just beyond hearing. Alex grabbed the door handle, twisting and pulling, but it wouldn't budge. Panic clawed at him. Then the knocking started, loud, echoing knocks from within the cabin, matching Emma's frantic pounding. Emma staggered back, her flashlight flickering wildly. Alex turned, his own flashlight shining into the trees, and saw the figures again, closer now, watching, waiting. The knocking from inside the cabin grew louder, rhythmic. pounding echo that seemed to vibrate through the mist. Emma screamed, slamming her fist against the door. "Please let us in." But the door remained shut, the light in the window flickering, casting strange shadows. Alex grabbed her, trying to pull her away. "Emma, it's a trap. We have to run." But her eyes were locked on the window, where something moved, a dark, shifting shape pressing against the glass, its hollow eyes staring out. A whisper louder than the rest slithered through the air, clear and cruel. "Stay." The forest around them seemed to breathe, the mist curling tighter, the trees swaying like twisted claws. Alex turned, dragging Emma with him, the whispers twisting into laughter, a low, mocking chorus that chased them down the road. The cabin's light flickered out, plunging the forest into darkness. They ran, but the road stretched endlessly ahead. Alex and Emma stumbled blindly, the mist choking the air. Emma's flashlight gave out, leaving them in suffocating darkness. "We're going in circles," Emma sobbed, her voice breaking. We never left. Alex tried to speak to reassure her, but his voice failed him. The whispers were louder now, surrounding them, calling their names in distorted, rasping voices. Alex swung his flashlight wildly, its beam cutting through the mist, revealing twisted, shadowed figures watching them from the trees, hollow eyes glowing with a pale, sickly light. "They're everywhere," Alex whispered, his voice cracking. Emma's knees buckled, her hands clutched to her ears, trying to drown out the whispers. The figures stepped closer, their shapes twisting and stretching into the darkness. "Please, please," Emma whimpered. Alex tried to pull her up, but his grip slipped. The mist thickened, swallowing them. The darkness closed in, and the whispers became a roaring tide. The next morning, 2 state troopers were driving the winding forest road. They spotted a silver sedan parked crookedly on the shoulder, one door hanging open. The engine was cold, the headlights dim, the battery dead. The interior was empty. Emma's phone cracked and drained of power. Alex's wallet wide open. The troopers radioed in, but their voices seemed small in the vast, silent forest. They followed the tracks leading from the car, 2 sets of footprints in the soft earth, wandering away from the road. But after just 100 yards, the tracks ended, swallowed by the forest floor. The troopers exchanged uneasy glances. The whispering wind rustled the trees. One of them leaned closer, listening. The wind carried faint, distorted murmurs, soft, almost too quiet to hear. But as they turned to leave, the whispers grew louder, the voices calling their names. The forest stood silent, patient, and watching. Next time you're home, all alone,